So I was sat here thinking about a video to do, and I was like, what video should I do? What video should I do? And then it just occurred to me, I know. So um yesterday, well, it'll be a while before this is uploaded, even though I ain't got no videos uploaded, so it won't be uploaded today, I'm recording it. But anyway, the previous day I decided to go to, where is it again? Duffield Nature Reserve. Now, I went there for a reason, and that's because they have Highland cows. If you don't know me, I am fucking obsessed. Like, literally obsessed. Like, every year, always a small for Highland cow. And I'm not going to get it. Like, I'm not going to suddenly wake up and unwrap a present, and it happens to be a real life Highland cow. Like, you know what I mean? It's not going to happen, but I like asking for it. Anyway, I'm kind of obsessed with them. The reason why is, okay, do you not think they look like heavy metal fans, like rock fans? Like, it looks like they have fringes, like, it's just, and then the horns that they have, oh my god, and they even look like rockers. Like, you know how some farmers will, like, put, like, a septum ring, and so they can pull him along because it's easier to control. I think they tend to do that more with bulls, but anyway, oh my god. They're just like that, look like proper rockers. So anyway, I specifically went down there specifically to go hunt for them and take some photos. Now, I didn't realise till after, because there were signs, but they weren't big enough. And the only sign I saw is obviously, if you're a dog walker, make sure your dog's on a lead, but I'll get into that later on. Um, but then after, when I came out the gates, it was like, don't get too close to them. And I'm like, I was more or less up their arse. It's like, I was like 2 meters apart. Some I was like 1 meter apart. But I thought I'd kind of do a video on how I kind of approached them and how I didn't like spook them out and stuff. But this is a disclaimer. If you get trampled, it's not my fault. I, honest to God, did not know how serious that is. You know when you love like an animal or something, and then you don't think of the dangers until after, and it's like, shit, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Because they're on about like space and stuff like that. So I'll go on first off like the cows there. So basically they're not there all the time. Basically they put them in as a way to sort of kind of maintain the land, because it's quite a big land, this nature reserve. It's quite big, and obviously a lot of manpower to keep it up, and obviously these cows graze, so they're basically just there to obviously graze and stuff. And obviously a lot of the time when it comes to upkeep of land and stuff that council own, it tends to be volunteers, really, most of the part. They may have one or two they pay people, but a lot of it's volunteers, and obviously, to save on money, or they're not getting enough. Let's just have some Highland cows in the area to, just to help with the situation. Apparently there's supposed to be sheep there, but when I was there I didn't see any. I don't know if they weren't out yet or what, because I was there around like, I think it was like 10 o'clock, something like that. I think it was like 10 o'clock. I can't even remember. I know it was morning. I don't think it was 9. Hang on. Actually, it might have been around 9 o'clock. But anyway, you've got two paths. You got one path that just takes you around, and you don't need to go in the areas if you don't want to be in the field where there's cows. And then there's obviously the other half, which to get to the fields there's a gate. It's like a special type of gate, so even if it doesn't kind of shut, a cow still won't come out, if that makes any sense. If you've been to field and stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. So first off, oh my god, loads of cow shit, and it kind of stunk. Second off, the ground was kind of uneven. I'm only mentioning this just in case you want to go, but it's quite muddy and the ground's a little bit uneven. I don't know if it's uneven because of how heavy cows are. I don't know, but the ground's uneven, so do bear in mind, like, wear something with good grip as well. So how I approach them. So obviously I'm not a retard. I knew like basic knowledge what to do when approaching like an animal and stuff. The first one is obviously not to just run up to it because you don't want to spook it. That was the whole idea. I didn't want to spook the cow. So I first saw one cow, and I kind of took a few steps forward. about every few minutes. I did have a good enough zoom, but obviously, our camera was good zoom, but obviously I wanted to get close because it's a Highland cow. Since I was taking photos of this first cow, and I went around and saw like a back of another cow, and I thought, you know what, I went round because again, I don't want to just come behind a cow and spook him out or freak him out or whatever. So I kind of went back round again. I went all the way around, and then I saw like a group of cows, like a few on their own, and obviously I was taking photos again. As I said, I was like approaching them really like slowly, like, you know what I mean, like I wasn't kind of rushing towards them, like there's somebody coming out of nowhere, you know what I mean, like, didn't want to piss them off or anything like that. So I just quietly just went slowly up to them, took photos and stuff. Obviously, during this time, I did not use a flash. I don't know why I needed to. I mean, it was daylight anyway, I didn't need a flash, but just to make that clear, I think everyone knows anyway, with any animal, don't take photos with flash. Just don't. So anyway, and then there was like two, I bumped into, well, not literally bumped in, but I saw two calves. I will get into that in a minute as well, because you do have to be careful. And then there was a group, so there was a group of like cows just chilling like in a circle, hanging around like gangsters. I didn't get close to them. I was a little bit far away from them, because again, I didn't want to cause sort of, not, I mean, you'd more like to spook a cow that's on its own, but I didn't want to sort of like go close. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to disrupt, the gang. If that makes any sense. They do say anyway, you shouldn't cut through a herd of cows, which I found out later, but I kind of knew anyway. I didn't want to interrupt what they were doing, just go bang in. So I just took like a few photos of them, and then that was it. So overall, it was, as I said, it was really successful. As I said, I crept towards them slowly, and then to come out of this area, I crept again. I wasn't like I wasn't hurried or anything. I wasn't making any loud noises or anything like that. I wasn't like talking to him. You know what I mean? I wasn't like making noise or anything. I was coughing. It turns out though, I might be allergic to cows because I was a bit phlegmy, and when I came out and on the way back, on the way out back, um, to the city centre, it kind of disappeared. So I might have a slight allergy to cows, because I mean I was phlegmy, but anyway. A little bit of TMI, but you know what I mean, you don't want to make loud noises, you want to freak them out. So I'm going to go back to the cows and the calves. So the calves were on their own, they weren't with the mother, so I'm just going to assume that, because obviously with the animal kingdom, like, their babies will get to a certain age and they're like, fuck off, you can do whatever you want. So it wasn't like the mother was still kind of mothering him. Now, the reason why I mention that is because a lot of cow attacks happen, because apparently it's a lot, is because it's during the seasons where the cows have given birth, and they're very, very, very protective over the young. Very protective. So first off, obviously this place, they bring the cows in, so they probably would have known this anyway. But do bear in mind, you are taking a chance if you do want to go out to any other place that they normally have cows on. Obviously make sure, like, it's hard because you don't know when they've just had kids, but apparently it's like early spring to summer, or it's spring to early summer is when they have, how some animals have seasons for babies, like sheep. That's when they have their young, so you might want to avoid that area, especially if you're not 100% sure. As I said, if it's like a public pathway, and like if it's a public field which a council owns, you don't know what the council is if you're not in the UK. It's basically, I don't even know how to describe it. It's basically it's basically owned by the, like, not the government, but the government of that country. Right, I don't know what I'm talking. Just search it up, and you know what I'm talking talking about. Then they're gonna know more so, and they're not gonna allow, obviously, people to come in and there's a mother and a cow on the field which could charge. So there's that situation. Now going back onto dogs, honestly, a lot of the attacks as well are people with dogs. They say to obviously go and make sure the dog's on a lead. But honestly, personally, don't even bother because, as I said, animals seeing other animals see them as like a threat sort of thing, and a lot of the time cows will go after dogs because again it could be because of they're young. Again, cows are very protective of their young, or the dog's running riot and it's freaking them out. They do say if a cow is gonna charge at you and you've got a dog, let the dog go, because more than likely the cow wants the dog. What people make the mistake of picking the dog up and running, but the most point the cow wants the dog. So if you let the dog go, and the dog will always outrun the cow, you can't outrun the cow, if that makes any sense. If a cow's after you, there's two things that can happen. Either just take a chance and just stand there, because I've read somewhere where sometimes cows will just run at you and then stop and then moo, and that's a way of saying, bitch, get away. I've got young people, touch my young people, young babies, you touch them, I'll break your face. So it's like a kind of warning. Or what you can do is just stand there, and apparently if you open your arms wide, it kind of deters them. I think you're supposed to say something as well, but it's a way of saying, look, I'm bigger than you, good luck, that sort of thing. But if either there's like signs and stuff as well, if the cows look agitated, don't go in the field in the first place. By the way, this is all things that I've looked up on, because I think I should share it. But yeah, don't like go in the field as either. If a cow looks like it's staring you down, don't stare them in the eyes. This is kind of with every animal. They say that with dogs as well, because it looks like you're giving them a challenge apparently, and they'll just go after you. Or if you feel like they're coming towards you and you feel a little bit intimidated, don't run. That's one of the people's biggest mistakes, is they run. A lot of the time cows are just being like, who is this person? Who is this thing? So they might just walk up to you, but as soon as you run, they're going to run. So if you feel intimidated and they're walking as well, you just walk back away slowly. Don't kind of obviously wrong, because it's not, just walk. And then that's people's biggest mistakes. Another thing, I don't know how it is with the UK with other countries, but I think in the UK there's certain laws when it comes to bulls. I don't think you're allowed them on public paths, because a bull, once it sees you and it wants to attack you, good luck, because it's not going to stop. A bull, you might as well just run. You're not going to outrun a bull, but if there's a fence nearby, then just obviously jump over it. But bulls can be very temperamental, especially if they're on their own as well. They work better, they're less aggressive if they're in a herd. I don't know why, but apparently that's a thing. So, just be careful with that. So if you're in another field, if you just climb over the fence and in a field, good. Well, if you get chased by a bull, it's your own fault, because you're not supposed to be on private land. But obviously, if you're in an open space, I don't know where it is in other countries, but that's for me in the UK. That they're not allowed in public pathways, because a bull are quite temperamental. Even as the farmers have said, they're really temperamental. Where cows are more sort of curious, but if they've got young and they're still mothering, then they're on the aggressive. They're like, they see anything, any predator, human, get the fuck away. So there's that. But yeah, that's my tip basically. Check in the field. If it's a lot agitated, don't bother. When you go in, just go in really slowly. Keep going forward slowly, slowly. As I said, from what I've heard, going really close was probably not the best thing to do, but they didn't bother me. That they basically just pretended I wasn't there. I did have like one cow glanced at me for a little bit, another cow like stared at me for a bit, and then it was like, whatever, we didn't give a shit. So they completely ignored me. But you know, maybe give them. I think they say if you, I think they call it a girth when you give big enough space. They call it give it girth, if that makes any sense. But because I love Highland cows, I didn't bother looking it up in the first place. I just wanted to be with them because I fucking love Highland cows. So I got quite close. They usually advise don't go quite close to them, but if you want to, that's like some tips and everything. Obviously, these cows are a little bit different. I say they're a little bit different, but any animal can be temperamental. So yeah, apparently though, so you know, that's like my tips and stuff. Don't suddenly surprise them and go boo in their face or run up to them. You don't want to do that. Just if you see like this could apply to all well, not all animals. I mean, good luck trying to do it with a lion, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. All approachable animals. If you get, I wouldn't advise getting close to a bull though. Just don't. It's not fucking worth it. But anyway, just go up to them slowly, hang around in that like area for a bit, and then start moving slowly again. If you see them looking a little bit agitated, then you know it's best not to keep going forward, just to go back, if that makes any sense. You can usually tell if animals are agitated and stuff. But yeah, that is my top tip. With cows, as I said, cows may go up to you. As I said, the curious, but if they're coming up to you, don't run away because they're just going to run after you. So, you know, it's important. If you don't like the fact the cows come, just back away slowly, but don't run away because you're making the situation worse. A lot of the time, they just probably think you're playing and they're going to run after you. It's like a dog. Like if you're not a fan of dogs or whatever, it could be even like a puppy or something, and the puppy's chasing you or running, they're gonna run after you because it thinks that it's playing a game. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's basically my top tips. As I said, as a disclaimer, I make this disclaimer as well. I don't advise doing this, just because unless I mean you know, if you can find a farmer that has like you want to take a picture of cars and stuff like that, and obviously you're with that farmer, so the animals are with a familiar person as well as a stranger, then it's cool. But it's up to you if you want to do it or not. But I just fucking love Highland cows. I just love them so much. I just went in there and I just wanted to like take photos of them. I didn't care at this point. I didn't feel intimidated at all either. So that's cool. But yeah, as I said, the area I went to, if you're wondering if you want to take Highland cows, because they would have probably picked cows that are less temperamental. As I said, I keep saying that, but animals are temperamental. If it still didn't like me, if it just didn't take a like to me. But animals take a like to me, and it's really weird. I can't get over that dog. Mention it really quickly here. So I was in Markeaton Park. I was sitting on a log, just like chilling, and then this dog comes up to me. Oh my god! And you know when you think that something's like someone's something's like next to you because you I can't remember what view you call it now, but you're like side view. Anyway, and then you see a dog come along, and it kind of sits on the log, and well, it sits on the log. Right, I didn't know it was sitting on the log. I just look at the side, and then I turned around, and the dog was like, well, it wasn't sitting on the log. It's kind of had its two paws on the log, looking forward, and I'm like I'm not there, and I'm like, you see. But I've had it before where owners are shouting the dog to come back, but the dogs are ignoring me. They're ignoring their owners. They prefer company with me. Anyway, off topic. So this was meant to be a quick video, but it turned into 19 minutes long video. So, bye guys.